Hi, welcome back to Auntie Julie's Reading Room, the channel where we explore techniques, strategies, ideas, and best practices in assessing and enhancing our students' reading levels. As promised, today we will explore an actual BAS reading using Fountas Pinnell's benchmark assessment system. I mean, say what you want to say about BAS, but it is the most structured and reliable reading assessment system I have ever used. Oh, that's from my experience. I mean, I don't mind a lesson if there are others available, but this is based on my experience. And in the bittersweet world of teaching, who does not appreciate at least one facet in all the facets that our job encapsulates, being structured and reliable? Okay? Speaking of reliability, when we get rising students in our grade, right? Here's a tip for your toolbox. A student coming up, say for example, you're a third grade teacher. You have a second grade class coming up to you. Right? We can get excited when we see them at levels like M and N or O or P, because in our mind we have already created the mental journey for the rest of the school year, because there are plenty of things that we could do with these students, because levels like those indicates that, you know, they have a good grasp or are at a good level of reading. So there are plenty we can do with them, not too much intervention unless it's for enhancement, and that's a nice part of intervention, right? But here's a tip for you. Be sure that you confirm these students at the Fountas Pinnell letter level that they're at. As students might come to you, excuse me, my nose once more. A student may come to you at a level M, and having given them the word list, they go through all the words and they are at a level M. And you may want to test them at a level M. Of course, if they're at a level M on the word list, then you want to pull the comprehension package for level M. You might find in some cases where the students read the passage at a level M, but when it comes to the comprehension aspect of it, they are not able to apply themselves, right? They don't know how to answer questions that demand them to think about the text, within the text, or beyond the text. So being able to call the words is one, right? Also being able to read the text is one, but to confirm them at the level would be for them to respond to those questions at the level. If they're not able to respond to those questions accurately, that would keep them at the level, right, or confirming the level, then I usually bring them a level back. BAS administration is not really hard, but tedious. But then again, we're teachers and we're innovative. So we know how to come up with ways that will make the process a little lighter or smoother, but still highly accurate. And here's another thing I want you to put in your toolbox. Here is my way of handling that. When I'm conducting a BAS assessment, it usually has a window. So within the window, I would conduct my BAS in phases. They have the word list phase and then the comprehension phase. Now you have some teachers who do it this way, where they call up one student at a time, have them go through the word list, and then have them read the comprehension, and then done with it. I find that just a bit heavy on me. So this is what I do. In my group of students, whether it be 15 or 20, it's highly likely that there are different level readers there. You have the high one, the medium ones, and the low ones. So what I do, I start off with the word list, and in phase one, I do only word list. So all of the students in my class will go through the word list, right? So I start off with the I ones, then do the medium ones. And that's the bulk of the class away. Done with the bulk of the class. Set them off the task independently. And that afford me like the last 2 days or so with the time and the patience to work with the lower level readers. What does this look like? I'll tell you. So like I said, these are students coming up from 2nd grade, right? You haven't taught them any concept really. If you're a 3rd grade teacher, you haven't taught them any concept in 3rd grade, though they may not be much different from those in 2nd grade. So what I usually do is I create a packet, whether it be based on a concept that I just teach or on those concepts from 2nd grade where they get the opportunity to revise. I have that ready along with whatever materials they would need, pencils, eraser, if they need glues, scissors, child-friendly scissors, of course, and have that. List my tasks on the whiteboard, and we have a small meeting. Class, this week we have to do something important. I will be conducting BAS assessment. All of you guys in here will be tested on your reading levels. Talk to them. Students love when you talk to them, right? Let them be a part of the whole thing. So I am not going anywhere. I will be here. We all will be in here. But the thing is, I need the environment to be quiet so your classmates, when they're doing their assessment, they can do their very best. Wouldn't you want that for your classmate? They can say, of course, yes, because students are wonderful, right? And of course, you want when it's your turn, the classroom is quiet, right? Now, like I said, I'm not going anywhere. I'll be right there. So whatever help you need, you just raise your hand and wait for me to indicate for you to come over. But don't just come over there and disrupt us, okay? Also, you can check with Mary Jade if it's something that you want to be read for you or if something that you don't understand. All right? And at the end of the day, depends on how well you do with this, I have a surprise for you. That being said, they're ready to take on the task. Having done that, you have your students, you run through the list. And this does 2 things for me. One, the first thing is it gets the bulk of the class fast. It gets them out the way, right? And allow you to build up the mental momentum, right? To deal with these students who may take a longer time, right? You need the energy to encourage them. Whether or not we want to admit it, students who are non-readers or low-level readers are not so confident, especially when they are aware. And 90% out of the 100 are usually aware that they're not so good at reading. So when they come to you, they're reluctant. They don't want to speak because they don't want you to know. Remember, you don't know these students. They're new to you. They don't want you to know that, hey, I'm not a good reader. I don't know these words. So you want to get those out of the way and build up the momentum, right? The energy to encourage these students to do their best, right? Now, when these students come to you, you want to start a conversation to get them relaxed. Hey, how you doing? How's the day so far? How are the activities coming on? What did you eat this morning? Are you okay? All right. So today you're going to be calling some words for me. Now, if you know these words, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. But if you don't know them, don't worry about it. Because I promise you, by the time you are done with 3rd grade to move to 4th grade, you'll know all these words and more. So I want you to look at these words. If you know them, you try your best and say them correctly or say them as you know them. If you don't know them, that's okay. Just say you don't and move on, right? That being said, that usually works. That lightens the mood and they are ready to go. All right. That's it with strategies and how we work that. Now we're getting into the part where we do an actual BAS reading. All right, are you ready? Let's go. We have already tested Mary Jane and we selected our comprehension packet. So here we have the packet. Mary Jane is in front of us. Okay, Hi Mary Jane, how you doing? All right, today you're going to be reading for me. I'm going to listen to you read. All right, in the packet, here are the readers. Okay. And you present Mary Jane with the choices. So I have 2 books, so you can choose any one of these books that you would want to read. Mary Jane looks at them. She said, okay, I want to read The Nice Little House. All right, Mary Jane. All right, so you put the other book away. You retrieve the script. Now, mark you, the script for both books, you need to have them readily available, because if you're going to afford the choice, then you must have the script ready, because she can choose anyone. Right? So you put the other one aside. Mary Jane said she wanted to read My Little House. So you put this one right here. All right. You hand Mary Jane the book. There you go, Mary Jane. Take a second while Mary Jane look over the book. Of course, you'll write it up. The name of my student is Mary Jane. And I usually use pencil because, you know, both students and I make mistakes. We're in the 3rd grade. Today is the 24th. Oh, that's not how to do it here. This is the way Jamaicans do it. The date, then the month, and the year. But we do the month, the day, and the 23 the year. The teacher's name is, of course, just a little more. School is Auntie Julie's reading room. There you go. And then we are ready. Now, the form has instruction. And of course, there are 2 parts to the actual comprehension reading. You have part 1, which is oral reading, right? Means it comes out of our mouth. Just to jog our memories. All right, it gives you the instruction. Place the book in front of the student and read the title and instructions. All right, Mary Jane. The title of the book is The Nice Little House. You see that? Say, The Nice Little House. Mary Jane said, The Nice Little House. All right. She has the book. Then you say, in the story, each animal went into a little house and said, what a nice little house. Read to find out what happened when all the animals went in. All right, so you give that instructions. Let me take this off so we have a better coverage. I'm sorry. I thought I actually already did. So let's get it. Here we have this description. The Nice Little House. Here is telling you it's a level D, just confirming the script. Running words. 129 is just telling you there are actual 129 words in the script. E stands for error, and the 4 stands for the number of errors allowed. So students can get up to 14 errors. What happens if they get over 14? That means you put them a level back. They ain't ready for this level. All right, but 14 and under, then they're good for this level. Here we have these letters over here. E stands for error. This is where we put a mark if the student makes an error. We're going to try to get as much errors that we can talk about so we can understand a little bit about MSV and what they mean. And right here we have self-correct. If a student's call a word that is not correct, didn't say it correct at first, but then quickly correct themselves, you would check here. That's not an error. You will not mark here. You mark self-correct. All right. So Mary Jane begins. Okay, one little luxury that I didn't have. Where is it? Where is it? Calculator. I was so excited about it. I know I can't find it. A calculator. This came in the box where you can have your start time, right? As soon as the students begin, click on start. As soon as they're done, you click on end time. And for any one of these that you want to find out the score for, all you have to do is click the button first and then record the time that you see. If you want to find out how many errors, you click errors, and then the errors come up. But you have to have this running during the duration of the reading for any scores that you click on to be accurate. All right, let's put that aside. That being said, we will continue. All right, Mary Jane is reading. Classroom is quiet, of course, just as it is quiet now. Or is that wishful thinking? All right, so Mary Jane begins. The horse went. Of course, that's not the correct word. So that therefore is an error. Check that. In the little house. What a nice little house, said the horse. I'm just trying to imitate a second grader, okay? So don't laugh at me. Let's go further down. Let's push this up so you can see. Are we good? Oh, damn, I need my glasses. I can't see nothing. Okay, so here we go. The cow went in the little house. What a nice little house, said the cow. Normally if they made the mistake here, calling went want, they usually do this here. So, anticipating that they do, we just do that when they call it, all right, in the actual reading. But if they happen to catch on and say, okay, went, that's not an error. So you don't need to check any boxes. So that's another error, so we put that here. All right, let me wait a minute for it to focus. Come on. There we go. There we go. All right, she continues. The pig went in the little house. All right, she gets it correct here. That's fine. There's no error because sometimes they catch on. All right. The pig said, what a nice little house. Good. She continues to read. The chick. That's incorrect. Put the line there, write the word chick. All right. But then she said, oh, I know what it is. It's chicken. So you write SC right here and put a score on the self-correct over there. In the small house. Here's our arrow. Right? Still within context, but error because it has to do with the word. Done with that. Then we have to check up on this page. How many errors did Mary Jane make? Okay, she did 1, 2, 3 errors. Subtotal 3, and she get 1 self-correction. Turn the page. Go to the other side. What a nice little house, she said. The duck went in the little house, she said. What a nice little house. Mary Jane is going on fine, ain't she? Okay, then she come. And Mary Jane doesn't know this word. Mary Jane says, can you help me? That's a ask. So you draw a line, draw A. A ask should be followed up by you try, right? Then you write the Y there to represent that you told the child, hey, you try. Mary Jane said, I don't know that word. I don't know that word. But she said, she skipped it. The went. Fine. So this is an error because she skipped the word. Good. Then we won't go on. The little house, then, and carry on. The horse walked, right? Again, Mary Jane, come on, you got that correct around the other side. Don't say that, okay? But then she said, oh, I'm sorry. It's went. Self-correct. No error, but self-correct. Put it on the self-correct. Out of the little house. The cow went out of the little house. Good. We're going on fine. The pig went out of the little house. The chicken went. So here, no arrows. Yes, we have one arrow. Put that there. One self-correction here. Skip the page. Go to the next one. And Mary Jane is going on fine, and she's confident, and she's doing good. Out of the little house. Mark you, I mean, it's because I'm demonstrating why it's not so smooth, but you get the idea. The duck went out to that little house. Right? So, of course, these words aren't correct. To and the. And like I said, we're going to look at what kind of arrow that is. So that's 1, 2 arrows. So there she go. Make 2 arrows. Good. Said the skunk. She read that. But then Mary Jane skipped an entire line. Do you say, Mary Jane, come on, go back, you skip a line? Because students ought to develop a skill of paying attention to details. So she has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 arrows. All the words that were missed. Good? And this would be 7. Now there's 2 ways of doing this. It's either you kept a check of all the arrows before and then add these to it and put the subtotal. But for me, this is how I do it. So then I would definitely go back here and check. In the arrow section, she has 1, 2, 3 arrows. 3 arrows plus 1 self-correction. 4 arrows plus 2 self-correction. That's 4, 6, and 5, 11 arrows plus 2 self-correction. All right, so we have 11, and we can put the subtotal here since there are no more. So all in all, you just have to check all the errors and check all the self-correction. Let's go back and check to make sure it's accurate. 1, 2, 3, right? Because I think I went a little off there. 4, 5, 6 plus 5 is 11. Good. All right, so we're good to go. Let me move this out of the way. All right, so having done that, this takes us to the section where we check for accuracy. Now you could use a calculator. As you can see, this is an actual picture of the calculator. So if you don't remember, this would remind you. But depending on how many arrows Mary get, you can use this as to check it. So she got 11, and here they have the scale. They have, if she get 8, that's 94, 9, 93, 10, 92. So 11 to 12, right, is a 91. So definitely Mary's accuracy rate is 91. Now you could also calculate the self-correction. So here we have that it's error plus self-correction divided by self-correction will give you the self-correction ratio. Right, so you could always do this. The error is 11 plus self-correction 2, which is 13, right? And then you divide it by the self-correction. So that is 13 divided by 2. 2 into 12 is 6.5. There you go. So it's 1 to 6.5. That's the ratio. That's there. Excellent. All right, now having done this, right, you're going to move on to the other scores. Now, fluency is just merely based on how smoothly the child reads the text. I would give Mary Jane a 2, based on the fact that she read in 3 or 4 word phrases groups. Some were smooth, some were expressive, interpretation and pauses, guide by author's meaning and punctuation, mostly appropriate stress and rate with some slowdowns. I mean, I did demonstrate. I was a little bit slow, right? Now to score a 3, she has to read primarily in larger meaningful phrases or words group, mostly smooth, expressive interpretation and pausing, guided by author's meaning, punctuation, appropriate stress and rate with only a few slowdowns. That would be me, right? So I give Mary Jane a fluency score of 2. Then we're finished with part 1 of the reading. Then we'll move on to part 2 of the reading right here, comprehension. And it's just merely a conversation. Don't be too jacket tight by asking these questions, right? Because students relate differently to questions and so on. So even if when you ask these questions this way and they don't understand, you can always, put it in a term that doesn't take from the quality of the question, but lead them to answering the question. So it's like a conversation. These are just guide, right? I mean, the answers are just guide, but these are the actual questions. So here we have within the text. These questions are focused and asking students information that can be found in the text. Most standards have for at least 3rd grade, let me speak to 3rd grade since I will be testing on the 3rd grade. They have a standard where it asks you that students should be able to read and respond to literal and inferential questions. Literal questions are those questions that demands that students go back to the text, search for the answers, and present them to you. Inferential, as the name suggests, they have to infer the answer based on what they read in context. So the answer, they have to think about it, right? So when you talk about within the text, it's relative to literal questions, right? So here, talk about what happened in this story. So this is a free, they can go anywhere with it. They can tell you from the beginning to the middle to the end, right? If they give you like all these answers without you getting to this, right? Or getting to this question, then they would have satisfied at a level 3. Because just asking, talk about what happened first in the story. If I'm asking a student this question and they give me what happened step by step, the beginning, middle, end of it, then I don't ask this, right? But I make sure, or as close as possible, make sure that their responses include these. All the animals went into the house, the skunk this, and da 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 da. They may not do it in that order, but definitely covered what happened, right? Then Mary Jane did good with this one. Students usually do good with literal, with responding to literal questions, right? These ones now, beyond and about the text. It includes a few questions about the text, but definitely beyond, outside of the text, if they can apply sometimes what they learn from the text in everyday life. Good? So for instance, why did the animals run away? Right? The story didn't say it, but she could infer that they were scared of whatever was in there. Right? And that would be a good answer. The animals did not want to be in the house with the skunk because they might smell like it. Right? She may say that, or they say she was scared, that they were scared. And then you could prompt them by saying, scared of what? That may lead them to answer, giving you this answer. All right? How do you think the skunk felt at the end of the story and why? This is an inferential question. The skunk didn't say how it felt in the story, right? But they can infer based on the actions. Okay. Say, for example, Mary Jane scored a 2 on that because she needs to develop. Now, she needs more development in making inferences. Okay, fine. What I usually do though, for my reference later on down the road, I usually make notes. If the answers are not very long, I would write the answers here, you know, or just phrases to remind me how they answered the question. So here, because this is the lower part of elementary, this is just comprehension, the total score is 6. Now, oftentimes, student can give you answers that are way beyond the text, right? Way beyond the text. Doesn't necessarily mean that are very good reader, but very good at comprehension. Good. And you might want, oh, I mean, this Mary Jane is so good at reading beyond the text. I'm going to give her extra marks. So she would score 3 plus 2 is a 5 out of the total score of 6. But she did so well, I'm going to give her extra point because she really went beyond there. So her total score would be 6 out of 7. Good. Then we go to part 3. And this is usually based on, this is the writing aspect of it, which is based on whatever was read about. All these scores added up, right? Now look at this. 6 to 7 is actually excellent comprehension. That's fine. I don't mind giving her that for a second grader early into third grade. I don't mind, right? Write about what happened to the animals in the nice little house. You can draw a picture to go with your writing. Now, I'm not going to lie, depending on how many students I have, like 20, this is an extra added task for them to be quiet and sit and do. And of course, it has the marking here. Good, and you can score them. Okay, fine, they write about the scoring. Let's see, Mary Jane did show partial understanding, but that wouldn't be accurate with her comprehension, right? So that means that she needs to work on her writing skills. Being a good comprehender doesn't necessarily mean you can write, right? Be creative in writing. Okay, so what do you do with all these scores? Okay, fine. So that's a 6 comprehension and a 2 on writing. And here, where she scored the ratio of 6.5 or 6.5 and accuracy rate of 91%. We will go to the front, of course. Here, accuracy 91%, self-correction 6.5, fluency she got a 2, comprehension she scored 6 out of 7, and writing she scored a 2. There you go. And these are important because you know you have to keep these data, and usually they have some electronic means or platform where you have to plug these in. So that's out of the way. Next thing we're going to be looking at is these. What do these M and S and V represents? What are they? All right, so the M describes all these MSV describes, and these parts are mostly for you to see, you know, where you can further help your students. Good. So the M stands for meaning. This is where readers make substitution that indicate they are thinking about the meaning of the text, right? So we're going to be looking at that. Let's see what is this. So here, the horse went, want is an error when she said it's want. But what kind of an error is it? If you notice, you have the same number of words. The only difference is the vowel in the word. So this would be a V, which means visual. What this means is the readers uses visual features of print, example letters or words to read, which is connected to their phonemic awareness, their phonemic abilities, right? So they may see play and say park, because play, like park, begins with P, just like the student, just like Mary Jane, who see went and say want. So here we put a check Some people write the letter V, but I'm saying V is already there, so I put a check as the arrow right there. So that's visual. Good. Moving down is the same thing here. That's a V. Coming down. And just like in the arrow aspect of it, you have MSV. Even though it's self-corrected, it still have these same things. Good. So chicken, where she made the self-correction here, this self-correction would be a M for meaning. What that is, right, readers make substitution that indicate they are thinking about the meaning of the text. Just like how they would say home for house. Oh, look at this one. In the little house, she said small. This is also meaning as an arrow. Oh wow, nobody saw me do that. Really? I checked it in the wrong box. This is self-correction. See why I use pencil? Yes, so it's meaning over self-correction over here. Good. Right? And small, little for small, this is also meaning because she's relating little to being small. Right? But this is in the arrow section, so this go over meaning right here. Good. And there you go. Now these are also checked up, right? It does not take for or from or add to the errors made over here already. That's already calculated. Like I said, this section is just for the teacher, right? Now we do add them up though. So this is 1, and for visual errors that were made, there were 2. Good. There we go. For self-correction, the errors that were made. Oh, you're not seeing. I'm so sorry. Okay. So counting down, how many errors were made on the meaning? That was just 1. How many errors were made on the visual? That was 2. 1, 2. So you scored at 2. Now, when a student makes too many errors on the V, you know, we don't want that, because that would indicate that the student really don't know, or should I say not know, but need to develop more on their phonemic awareness so they can better able to identify a word. So to get a lot of visual, the students really don't know the word. So that's what we want. We don't want. But what it does for us teachers is tell us that, hey, Mary Jane needs some practice with words beginning with the same letter sounds, right? And we know how to get through to that. That being said, this has gone on a lot longer, so much longer than I anticipated, but I do hope you walk away with something from it. And once again, thank you for joining me. And go ahead, tell your friends, especially the new ones to the teaching world. You know, welcome so we can learn together. Straight out of Auntie Julie Reading Room. Thanks for joining me. See you next time. Walk good.